I'd like to ask about the promises that were supposed to increase the hype before the premiere. A full living city, life paths that determine your future. Sometimes not all promises are fulfilled. People complain about the lack of them instead of looking at the pros and cons of the game. Do you think such a promotion based on great promises is good? I would really love to be able to give you like a, how to say it, more educated opinion about the topic. But I mean, as I mentioned, I'm not really a PR guy, right? So it's for me kind of difficult, I would say, to judge, you know, what is the best way, because, you know, I'm the guy who's making the game. Not, you know, like I would say, how to say it, crafting our PR strategy and whatnot. So I honestly don't know, like, you know, it's just like one thing that I know is like, and I just wanted to mention this because I think it's important in general to talk about it. Is like, guys, when you're working in a big team and so on, when there is a lot of people with different like with different specialities and so on, it's really important that you have this mutual trust between disciplines, right? It's very important that there is mutual, I would say, respect and trust between different disciplines. So what's important here is the fact that me as a quest designer, I am basically trusting in, you know, the decisions of our PR team, marketing team, and whoever else has been making that decisions. And I think it's important to highlight because, like, you know, it's not that our, I would say, PR or marketing, you know, department is coming to me and telling me, you know, how quests should be built for the game, right? They're not. And that's why I do not really feel that I'm qualified to come to them and tell them how they should, you know, what should be better or, you know, regarding, I would say, the marketing of the game and so on. And I think it's really important, you know, for us all to understand, you know, that if you're like in a big team and so on, when there's like so many different like specialities working together, you just need to have trust for each other. And sure, like even when somebody fails, you know, somebody under delivers and so on, you still have to have this trust in another person and on another members in your team, because otherwise you cannot really perform well. You know, you cannot really like work with, like, I would say, this open, free mindset and trying to approach the world and see what the world has to like can give you, what the world can offer, right? Like living in fear that somebody else will screw up or somebody else will do something wrong I think it's just a wrong way to live in general. And forgive me that I went into this philosophic discussion right now, but what I wanted to say is just like, I think it's not for me to judge, you know, honestly. Like, if you would ask me about the quest design, I can talk to you about this, and the story design and so on. But when it comes to the pure marketing decisions, I suspect that people that make this decision have, you know, years more of experience and knowledge on that field than me. So I'm just, you know, I'm willing to give them my trust and just like show them that, okay, you know, guys, I can give you my opinion. I would say I'm talking right now like in a real scenario in work, right? When we are like working together and so on, I can basically offer, hey, you know, I can discuss things with our PR team or marketing and so on, offer what I think, but at the end of the day, is their decision, and I'm going to trust them, right? As a creators, we need to be very careful to make sure that the world that we are creating is like true to itself, is like true to its core, but it's also not full of references and so on, right? Situation when we would like place the Ciri in Cyberpunk world, like alive, I'm talking about the live character, that would mean, technically speaking, that Cyberpunk world and the Witcher world are parallel universes, right? This is what it would mean, right? So making like a reckless decision, I would say, to place Ciri suddenly in Cyberpunk, we would have created this kind of I would say, situation or setup that maybe is not something that we really want, you know? And that's why I'm pointing it out. Like, as a creator, you always have to ask yourself, okay, what is true to my creation? and make sure that you're like true to yourself and telling the original story rather than retelling something that already somebody else has done. And, you know, like referencing even our own game, even Witcher, you know, is not always so good, you know, because we want the player to be immersed in the world and to believe in the cyberpunk world that they are seeing. And sure, we can discuss, you know, all the things that you guys, you know, pointed out that you don't like regarding, you know, breaking immersion and so on. And this is fair criticism, right? But what I'm trying to say is like adding, you know, Ciri on top of it and creating yet another, I would say, immersion breaker, or a situation when we would have to accept that suddenly Cyberpunk and the Witcher worlds are a parallel universes, suddenly becomes strange, you know, and just it makes you as a player, it makes you ask questions. Okay, what actually is really going on here? Like, why they, instead of telling the original story and being true to their vision, they're actually just, you know, fucking around with like references constantly, you know. And I would say that is my perspective. Like, we had lots of different talks in the studio, in the design team, in quest team, cinematic team, and story team, specifically story team, regarding, you know, what is allowed, I would say, and what is not, you know, because I think as a creator you need to be very conscious about all those decisions. I think being reckless about this is not a good direction. Is really I would say the exact opposite you should be doing. There's a question: why can we refuse phone calls? It would be better get a pop-up in the corner which can be ignored, and you should also be able to get in while driving. Very good point. Actually, we had like lots of different conversations in the team and in general in the studio regarding, you know, how the phone calls should be handled, because, you know, as you probably can understand, like in The Witcher we didn't really have phone calls before, so we couldn't really, how to say it, we didn't have like a big enough polygon to really like test all the, you know, all the ideas and so on, and basically see, you know, what works good, what doesn't. And again, like we are also seeing that there's lots of like space for improvement when it comes to the when it comes to the phone calls, you know, how they are handled, how we respond to them, and so on, you know. So I find your comment very accurate. That's something also that in the quest team specifically we have been talking quite a bit about.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video.